Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us this morning. My name is Jean Boda. I'm the Executive Director with the Alberta Community Crime Prevention Association, commonly known as ACPA. In May of this year, ACPA will be hosting its annual Crime Prevention Conference in Edmonton. The dates, May the 5th through the 7th. In anticipation of this exciting event, we are hosting a series of podcast interviews with our conference presenters. And this morning, I am delighted to be interviewing Detective Ray Wilson. Ray and I have known each other for many years through his involvement with the Retail Crime Summit, which was held in Red Deer up until COVID. On May the 5th, Ray will be part of a pre-conference workshop entitled Retail Crime Prevention and Strategies in the Issues and Strategies in Prevention. Ray, we're delighted that you could join us this morning. And if you could give us a little bit of background on yourself, especially about your expertise in crime prevention and retail crime.
Good morning, Jean, and thank you very much for having me. Yes, I've been a police officer for almost 25 years with the Edmonton Police Service. I've worked in various units, and I have to say that my favorite place to work was in the crime prevention unit, where I was able to run our retail crime unit, actually commonly known as a cooperative policing unit, where I was partnered with loss prevention officers, and I helped establish partnerships, relationships, and run initiatives to combat retail crime. So that was my passion, and I'm still continuing to do that to this day.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Thank you, Ray. So would you say there's been an increase in retail thefts in the last little while?
Definitely. And it's getting more and more sophisticated. There's retail theft, and I'm glad you used the term retail theft, because the term shoplifting is gone by the wayside. There's no longer the shoplifting, stealing a bag of chips or a bottle of Coke. Retail crime is getting more established, more sophisticated, and more organized, and we're seeing a dramatic increase throughout the community, throughout the retail world.
Wow. So how much money would you say is involved, and are there other aspects of this involved, and is there a lot of money taken from retailers? What are they reporting as far as stats and stuff like that?
Well, according to statistics through the Retail Council of Canada, this is upwards of a $3 billion industry through the criminal empire of where this is going, and that's why it's looked upon. It is actually a crime that is not as, it's not looked at very sexy, so that's why it goes under the radar. But this is growing exponentially throughout the country, and it's not just localized. So you're seeing more and more thefts of more and more product being stolen, and yeah, it is, and it's causing a huge effect through the economy, because you're seeing more and more thefts. So the retailers have to recoup that. So who ends up paying is the normal people that are going about their business, law-abiding citizens buying product, but they're seeing the prices increase because retailers have to combat the thefts that they're losing by increasing the prices. So yeah, we're seeing this trickle-down effect, and it's causing a lot of harm throughout the communities.
Well, lots of social impact, as like you say, with communities. What about law enforcement agencies? Do they have a strategy to deal with such a large scale crime?
Well, a lot of the initiatives that I put forward when I was running the unit have been utilized, and we find them to be very successful. One of those is working in partnerships with the retailers to have the loss prevention officers be more apt with report writing, powers of arrest, learning the intricacies of what causes retail crime and what, and to promote safety and to help deal with those that are causing the crime. Another initiative is offender management, identifying those that are stealing a lot, the repeat offenders, and how do we manage those offenders, and continuing relationships with the Crown Prosecutor's Office to try and establish more accountability for those who cause the offenses, higher sentences, maybe more conditions on those who offend. Because as we know, that's what causes the grief throughout the retailers, is they're seeing the repeat offenders, those that have been arrested and charged, and then not soon after they're back in their store stealing again. So where is that accountability? So we're pushing forward with initiatives and strategies to help combat those retail offenders and support the retailers through law enforcement to make them understand that we do hear them and want to assist them by making a collaborative effort to combat retail crime.
So the retailers themselves, do they have a training program in their organizations? Do some have, some not? What's the...
Well, and that's $1 million question, because to become a loss prevention officer, you really only need to obtain your security license through the government of Alberta. It's an online program. You do a course, and then you write an exam, and then you have your security license. A lot of stores have their own in-house training where they train their loss prevention officers, but they also have to abide by policies to remain safe. When I was running the cooperative policing program, we had a loss prevention officer training program where we actually partnered with the LPOs, where they could write reports, learn the powers of arrest, understand proper report writing, so that those reports were actually acceptable by the Crown Prosecutor's Office, and we could establish those charges would lead to convictions. So it's an ongoing process, and my goal is to take that training, which I established in Edmonton, province-wide, so we can teach those loss prevention officers in smaller communities throughout the province to be streamlined, and then they can work hand in hand with law enforcement, which in turn helps law enforcement as far as calls for service, because everything relies on resources. So if we can have our loss prevention officers work in partnerships with our police officers, that will help reduce calls for service and increase charges towards those offenders, and hopefully that will lead to longer sentences for convictions, or more conditions where they're held more accountable for stealing from their stores.
Excellent. Yeah, no, I agree. Let's talk for a little bit about the workshop itself. What's the goal of the workshop on the 5th of May?
The goal is, I guess, in twofold. It's to bring awareness to retail crime on a whole, and how it affects the community, and talk about the initiatives to strategically combat retail crime. So it's a collaborative partnership. So it's basically bringing retail crime back to the forefront. It's been looked upon. Like I said, it's not a sexy crime, but it's a very impactful crime. So my job in this workshop is to work collaboratively with those in attendance to talk about retail crime, how it affects the community, how it affects those involved, why people steal, and how it impacts everyone. It doesn't just impact the retailers; it impacts the community, and it impacts offenders. Why are they stealing? It's not just for personal use. These offenders are stealing for a reason, and we want to talk about this at the workshop, where we can bring it to the forefront.
Excellent. So from the sounds of it, the workshop participants will be learning a lot about retail crime, the impacts, etc. And also, you and your other two presenters will also be gleaning a lot of insight and information from them as well, I'm assuming.
Oh yeah, yes. Because There's three of us. John Beaston, who he's a retired police officer. He worked with me with Edmonton Police. He is a SEPTED expert. He's going to do a presentation on SEPTED, talking about for those who don't know what SEPTED stands for, it's crime prevention through environmental design, and that talks about what you need to do to establish your retail establishment in as far as cameras, location of product, environmental entities in your place of business to help prevent crime and possibly to put a deterrent for people to want to steal from your store. Our other presenter will be Rui Rodrigues from the Retail Council of Canada. He's an expert in the loss prevention dynamics, and he's going to do a presentation talking about retail crime and how it impacts the impact on the community, and bringing statistical evidence to support why we need to take this more seriously. So with the three of us and with our attendees, it's basically going to be a collaborative discussion, and we're going to have a roundtable discussion and bring forward ideas, because we're not going to sit there and say we know it all. Everyone has a voice. How are we going to combat this? What are your experiences in dealing with retail crime? What do you feel needs to be done? So that's where we're going to be talking, and this workshop, I think, is going to open the door for more discussions on how to combat retail crime.
I'm impressed, Ray. I really am, and I agree with you. Retail crime really needs to be brought to the forefront, and we really need to start to, like you say, talk about it, bring it out of the shadows, and start speaking about what it is. It's been such a pleasure chatting with you today, Detective Wilson. I'm really looking forward to your presentation or your workshop on May the 5th. And for any of our viewers that are interested in checking out our conference or the pre-conference workshops, please visit our website, www.albertacrimeprevention.com. And with that, I'll thank you again, Ray, for your time, and everyone stay warm, stay safe, and talk to you soon. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.